Today, we're going to take a lot of time to really focus on workshopping the next steps of using our WIDA proficiency data to differentiate experiences for students.
At NCPA, we are an immersion school servicing a population where everyone is a language learner and everyone is learning the English language. So we really need to be strategic and very intentional on how we are going to support and meet their needs in each and every classroom across the curriculum. And using our language proficiency data from WIDA has been really helpful in terms of when we're planning, we can sit down and think about, under these standards, for these assessment purposes, how are we going to get students to be successful? And we can look at proficiency data to say, on this writing task, we know that students need to develop in these areas. We know that when we assign or give this assignment, students are going to need these types of supports in order to demonstrate their understanding, regardless of their language proficiency. And that's really key for us, because otherwise, without that data, without that understanding, we run the risk of students not being able to demonstrate their understanding, not being able to meet the standard that we're working on. So we work with teachers work together looking at data to make a plan for not only how are we going to develop students' language proficiency, but also how are we going to differentiate and scaffold for understanding and demonstration and success.
What they are,
Right.
and so are they really proficient for what they can do right now?
Yeah, no, I've used it at least a while ago. I used it that way.
Yeah.
I integrated. It wasn't exactly this candy document the same way which exists in other places with WIDA, but I've integrated this into content progress and kind of see like, okay, are you performing on your linguistic level, or is this like not really showcasing what you can do?
WIDA gives us a proficiency score at the 4 domains of language individually. So we know a student's speaking, listening, reading, and writing abilities in English, what they can do in school level English, in academic English. And that's really useful for us for planning and for understanding. So we need to know this individual information about students for planning so we can anticipate the needs of individual students and then the needs of classes. Some classes might be made up of a lot of students who are lower proficiency. Some classes might be middle to higher ranges, and then teachers can use that information to plan what their lesson is going to look like. We also need it for understanding what the students can do. We've got a 100% EAL population here, so that means every student has 2 variables going on, their language proficiency and their content understanding. So we can look at the WIDA data and then how the kids are doing on their assessments and get a better idea of, are they performing at that level because language is holding them back or because their content understanding is holding them back. So I think most teachers have started to use WIDA data a little bit, but it's still kind of a conscious decision to do it. And I think our next step would for it to be absolutely part of the normal practice, that we're always looking at those WIDA scores when we're making those decisions about, for example, grouping. Or another opportunity to use this WIDA data is with the can-do descriptors, and that can be really helpful in planning, for example, a summative or a formative task where we can look at the abilities, the language proficiencies in a particular class, and make sure that the task that we're asking them to do is something that they're able to do in terms of the language, or if there are going to be some students in that class who aren't currently at the proficiency level to complete that task, we can think about what kind of scaffolds do we need to put in place. Do we need to have some kind of adjustment to the task for individual students, or do we need to have some kind of scaffold that will allow them to show the content knowledge